There is a quiet magic in the way sunlight filters through a window. The world outside, softened and reframed, becomes a painting, one that changes with the hour, the season, the weather. Yet few pause to wonder at the journey of this glass. How it began as grains of sand, anonymous and unremarkable, scattered across ancient shores. In the hands of industry and artisans alike, these grains are transformed, melted, shaped, and cooled into the silent sheets that hold back the wind, invite the light, and separate the world from itself. This is a story of transformation, of the invisible labor behind the everyday clarity. It is a story about the cost of transparency, and the beauty that emerges when the ordinary is made extraordinary, one pane at a time. There is a moment, often unnoticed, when the morning light first touches the glass. It is a quiet encounter, soft, almost sacred. The world outside is still, and the pane before you is both barrier and invitation. Through it, the familiar becomes distant, the distant becomes near. The glass is so clear, so unassuming that it almost disappears. Yet, it is always there, shaping the way you see, the way you feel, the way you remember. Children press their palms and faces against windows, searching for answers in the fog of their own breath. Lovers trace raindrops as they race down the pane, each droplet a tiny universe. The elderly sit in silent rooms, watching seasons change through the same rectangle of light, year after year. Glass is the silent witness to these moments, present but rarely acknowledged. In cities, glass towers reflect the sky, multiplying clouds and sun in endless repetition. In homes, a single window frames the world, offering comfort or longing depending on the day. Glass is both shield and stage, a thin line between safety and exposure. It is the lens through which life is observed, filtered, and sometimes understood. Yet for all its presence, glass remains a mystery. Few pause to consider its origins, its journey from raw earth to polished pane. Fewer still imagine the hands, the heat, the history that makes such clarity possible. This chapter is an invitation to look again, to see not just through the glass, but into it, to recognize the quiet power of transparency and the stories that shimmer just beneath the surface. Before glass is clarity, it is chaos. It is sand, countless grains shaped by wind and water, scattered across riverbeds and ancient dunes. Each grain is a fragment of a much older world, broken down by time, carried by currents, and left to rest in silence. The story of glass begins here, in the hush of geological patience, where nothing seems to move, yet everything is always changing. Silica sand, the heart of glass, is born from the slow erosion of quartz-rich rocks. Over centuries, mountains crumble, rivers grind, and the earth surrenders its secrets to the sea. The sand that will one day become a window pane is sifted and sorted by nature's invisible hand, its purity determined by forces beyond human control. It is a process measured not in years, but in epochs. But the silence of sand is easily broken. Human hands, driven by need and ambition, arrive with machines and maps. They dig deep, extracting the finest grains, reshaping landscapes in the pursuit of clarity. The dunes recede, the riverbanks are scarred, and the quiet is replaced by the hum of industry. Communities near these deposits feel the change. Dust in the air, water running thin. The land itself altered in ways that cannot be undone. Still, the sand remains indifferent. It has seen empires rise and fall, watched oceans advance and retreat. It is both the beginning and the end, the raw material of transparency and the silent witness to its own transformation. In every pane of glass, there is a memory of the earth, a reminder that even the clearest window is rooted in the mystery of origins. In the heart of the factory, sand is no longer silent. Here it is fed into furnaces that roar with a heat so intense it mimics the birth of stars. The transformation is violent, elemental. Silica, soda ash, and limestone, measured with precision, are combined and melted at temperatures exceeding 1,500 degrees Celsius. The raw, granular chaos of sand is liquefied, its structure undone, its past erased in a crucible of fire. This is the alchemy of industry, a process that turns the ordinary into the extraordinary, but not without cost. Conveyor belts move ceaselessly, carrying molten glass along a river of fire. Machines stretch and flatten the glowing mass, cooling it into perfect sheets, uniform, flawless, and ready for the world. The scale is staggering. Every day, millions of square meters of flat glass are produced, destined for skyscrapers, cars, and homes. Yet beneath the gleaming surface, there are shadows. The energy required to sustain these furnaces is immense, often drawn from fossil fuels that leave a heavy carbon footprint. Emissions rise, invisible but persistent, joining the atmosphere in a silent exchange. Chemical additives, used to refine and color the glass, can leach into water and soil, their impact lingering long after the panes have left the factory floor. Workers move through this landscape of heat and hazard, their labor essential but often unseen. The rhythm of production is relentless, dictated by global demand and the promise of progress. The glass that emerges is celebrated for its clarity, but the process that creates it is anything but transparent. In every sheet, there is a trace of fire, a residue of industry, and a question: what is the true cost of seeing the world so clearly? Away from the thunder of industry, there are places where glass is still born from breath and patience. In small workshops, the process is slower, more intimate, a dance between human hands and elemental fire. Here the furnace is not a machine, but a hearth. The sand is measured by eye, the temperature judged by the color of the flame, the transformation guided by instinct and tradition. Artisanal glassmakers work in the glow of molten possibility. They gather the liquid glass on the end of a blowpipe, turning and shaping it with practiced movements. Each pane is unique, marked by subtle variations, tiny bubbles, wavering lines, the signature of the maker's touch. The process is physical, demanding, and deeply personal. It is a conversation with the material, a negotiation between control and surrender. The knowledge passed down through generations is fragile, held in memory and muscle. In some places, it is a family legacy. In others, a cultural heritage at risk of fading away. The artisans speak of glass as if it were alive, temperamental, unpredictable, capable of both beauty and heartbreak. Their work is not about efficiency, but about meaning. Each sheet of glass carries a story, a fragment of the maker's life, a reflection of the community that sustains the craft. Yet even here, the world intrudes. The cost of raw materials rises, the demand for perfection grows, and the pressure to compete with industrial giants is relentless. Artisanal glass is cherished for its character, but it is also vulnerable, caught between reverence for the past and the realities of the present. In every handmade pane, there is a quiet defiance, a reminder that not all clarity is mass-produced. Every material has its limits. Even glass, for all its strength and clarity, is defined by its fragility. There are moments, sudden, sharp, when the pane shatters, and the illusion of seamlessness is broken. These breaking points are not just physical, but symbolic, revealing the hidden tensions beneath the surface. In the world of industry, accidents happen. A furnace overheats, a sheet cools too quickly, a worker's hand slips. The result is a cascade of cracks, a spiderweb of failure that spreads in silence. Sometimes, the break is more than a single pane. Environmental disasters, polluted rivers, collapsing dunes, toxic emissions, fracture communities and ecosystems, leaving scars that cannot be easily repaired. The promise of progress is interrupted by the reality of risk. For artisans, the breaking point is more intimate. A day's work can be undone in an instant. A misjudged temperature, a moment's distraction, and the glass is lost. The heartbreak is quiet but deep. Each failure is a lesson, a reminder of the material's unpredictability, and of the humility required to work with it. These moments of rupture force a reckoning. They reveal the fragility not just of glass, but of the systems and stories built around it. The pursuit of clarity, of perfection, is shown to be precarious, always one step away from collapse. Yet in the shards, there is also a strange beauty. The broken edges catch the light in new ways, refracting it into unexpected colors. The breaking point, painful as it is, becomes a turning point, a chance to see differently, to begin again. After the shattering, there is a pause, a moment to gather what remains and imagine what could be. The story of glass does not end with its breaking. Instead, it finds new beginnings in the fragments, in the willingness to see value where others see only waste. Across the world, innovators and communities are reimagining what glass can be. In recycling plants, broken panes and discarded bottles are collected, sorted, and melted down. The process is imperfect but hopeful. Old glass is reborn as new sheets, mosaic tiles, or even art. Each recycled pane carries a memory of its former life, a quiet testament to resilience and renewal. In some places, technology offers new paths. Researchers experiment with alternative materials, seeking ways to reduce the energy and emissions of traditional glassmaking. Solar-powered furnaces, bio-based additives, and closed-loop systems promise a future where clarity does not come at such a high cost. These innovations are small, sometimes fragile, but they signal a shift, a recognition that the old ways must change if the light is to keep shining. Communities, too, are finding their own answers. Artisans teach their craft to new generations, blending tradition with adaptation. Local initiatives reclaim sand from construction waste, turning what was once discarded into something useful and beautiful. The work is slow, often invisible, but it is a form of healing, a way to mend not just the material, but the relationships between people, place, and possibility. Reimagining the pain is an act of hope. It is a refusal to accept that brokenness is the end. In every recycled sheet, in every new technique, there is a quiet promise that clarity can be found again, and that the light we let in can be gentler, wiser, and more enduring. There is a moment, just before dusk, when the world outside the window is awash in gold. The glass glows, not with its own light, but with the gift it receives and passes on. In this gentle hour, the journey of sand to pane feels almost sacred, a quiet collaboration between earth, fire, and human longing. Glass is more than a material. It is a threshold. It lets in the sun's warmth on winter mornings, the hush of rain on summer afternoons, the shifting colors of every season. It frames the world, but it also softens it, turning harshness into something bearable, even beautiful. Through glass, the ordinary becomes luminous. The light we let in is not just physical, but emotional, a reminder of what it means to be open, to be vulnerable, to be changed by what we see. For those who make glass, and for those who live behind it, there is a shared experience of wonder and responsibility. The clarity that glass offers is a gift, but also a choice. It asks us to notice the world, to honor the labor and the land that make such seeing possible. It invites us to reflect on what we allow to enter our lives and what we choose to keep at bay. In the end, the light we let in is a measure of our humanity. It is shaped by our hopes, our fears, our willingness to see the world as it is and as it could be. Through every pane, there is a story of transformation, a quiet testament to the beauty that emerges when we open ourselves to the world. Every window is a silent companion. It stands between the world and the self, a witness to the passing of days and the unfolding of lives. Through every window, there is a story of longing, of belonging, of the simple act of looking out and letting in. The journey of glass, from sand to pane, is a story of transformation that echoes the human experience. It is about the courage to endure heat and pressure, to be shaped and reshaped, to find clarity after chaos. It is about the invisible hands that labor in obscurity, the landscapes altered in pursuit of transparency, the quiet resilience of those who mend what is broken and imagine what could be. In the hush of early morning or the stillness of night, the window becomes a frame for reflection. It holds the world at a distance, yet brings it close enough to touch. It reminds us that clarity is never perfect, that every view is shaped by what stands between us and the world. The glass is both barrier and bridge, a threshold that invites us to see, to feel, to remember. Through every window, there is a chance to witness the ordinary made extraordinary. To honor the journey of sand, the alchemy of fire, the artistry of hands, and the light that finds its way through. In the end, the pane is not just a sheet of glass, but a quiet invitation to look again, to see more deeply, and to recognize the beauty in the spaces between.